Absolutely. We've got our panel to talk about all of that. Robert Royals here with us in Vatican City. He's the editor-in-chief at the Catholic Thing, as it's called. And Teresa Tomeo is a syndicated Catholic talk show host of the Catholic Connection. She joins us as well remotely. Welcome to you both. Robert, let's start with you here. Tell us what you saw today, specifically Cardinal Ray. Interesting, he's also the dean of the College of Cardinals. He doesn't have a vote because he's over 80. He's 91 years old, but he is the dean of the College of Cardinals, and that's the next big event here. Sure, there'll be days of mourning and all of that, but everyone will be looking to this conclave. What are you expecting?
Well, I think we always have to stipulate that it's speculation about what's going to happen in a conclave. You know, there's an Italian expression that he who enters the conclave as a pope comes out as a cardinal. So it's a joke, but it's also quite true most of the time. I thought it was interesting that Cardinal Ray, though, really tried to hone in on the main themes of Francis's papacy, kind of put a period at the end of that, or maybe an exclamation point that, you know, this is what he did. He tried to promote peace. He tried to reach out to everyone. And there's no doubt that we're going to turn a page with the next pope. It's a question of what that's going to be, how much it will be continued, and how much that pope will want to do something that's new also.
Teresa, you have a talk show syndicated. You're also an international speaker, and that is something when we talk international, Pope Francis calling up cardinals from small countries around the world, and they're all, you know, converging here in the coming days. Some have arrived, some have not, but his legacy really is elevating. I believe it was 108 cardinals that will be participating in the conclave. Talk to us about your thoughts here on how he will be remembered, what you took from today's services that struck you personally.
Well, I think personally what struck me were the beautiful readings that were chosen for his funeral, for the gospel, John 21, and what we know as Catholics, the primacy of Peter, that beautiful scene along the Sea of Galilee after the resurrection where Peter is still so downtrodden, and yet he realizes it's the Lord greeting them. And so he rushes to the seashore, and then Jesus is telling him, you know, do you love me? 3 times he asked him that question, you know, feed my sheep, feed my lambs. And of course, the reading from the Acts of the Apostles, talking about the fact that God shows no partiality. I thought that was beautiful in relationship to Francis, because he was all about those who are marginalized and reaching out to the peripheries. He always talked about the church being a field hospital. He mentioned that in one of his early apostolic exhortations. So I was really touched by the readings. My husband and I were fallen away Catholics for many years and came back to the faith through Scripture. So my husband's now a deacon of the Catholic Church, and we love Scripture. And so I'm always trying to pay attention to the message that God's trying to give us in the various readings of the Mass. So that's what really moved me. And I also think the scenes of his casket going through the streets of Rome, it brought me to tears this morning when I was watching the coverage, because he was a hope of the people. And then going out to be buried at St. Mary Major, Santa Maria Maggiore, which is a neighborhood church. I mean, it's still in Rome, but it is, you know, a ways from the Vatican, as you saw in terms of how long it took them to get there. And his desire to be more among the people. It's known more, as Cardinal Dolan described it a few days ago, our Cardinal Dolan from New York, of course, as a parish church, more of a parish church. So a lot of meaning in everything.
Absolutely.
A lot of meaning,
Robert, in the last minute we have, what about the news of day that came out of this involving the President of the United States? I mean, Donald Trump has a meeting right before this funeral mass with President Zelensky of Ukraine, and both sides are saying it was productive.
Yeah, the Italian press has been very interesting about this. I think Giorgia Meloni, the Prime Minister of Italy, met with both of them last night as well. And they're hoping that the Italians are hoping that they're able to facilitate this a bit as well. So it looks like Zelensky arrived with a new proposal that would mean that they would still have a national military and there would be some guarantees. And he's looking that the United States will unfreeze the Russian assets that we have to help pay for the reconstruction of Ukraine. I don't know how that's going to go down with Putin. But it's very interesting that in conjunction with all the other stuff that's going on here in Rome today, that the two of them were able to meet, and maybe there'll be some graces that'll be able to move something forward that's been very difficult to move forward up till now.
Giorgia Meloni also has been crisscrossing, you know, here at the White House just about a week ago, then the day after greeting J.D. Vance, and then he was with the Pope. So there has been a lot of connection between this Trump administration 2.0 and Giorgia Meloni, which is high interest. And of course, today, the backdrop, which you mentioned, the thought that she's also representing, many people say, in the EU as well. And we see Macron here a little bit. There were 3 chairs, and then there were 2, Robert. I didn't know that.
Yeah, no, it's very interesting that Macron is here, and it's very interesting that the the diplomatic order, according to the Italians, had to be according to the French language. So in other words, the names
seating.
of the seating, but there also was the necessity to make sure that there were no diplomatic there was no diplomatic uncomfortableness about seating some people who were not exactly friendly with one another next to one another.
Also seems like the Italians and France are trying to be the ones that get the credit for facilitating these talks. Both Macron and Meloni trying to have a big role here. So we'll follow that. We appreciate your insights. Robert Royal and Teresa Tomeo, thank you so much.
Great to have you in with us both. Thank you.
Our live coverage continues from here in Vatican City. Don't go anywhere. Brand new hour coming up.